the best thing to do, and we don't want to admit this, but the best quarterbacks of the last, let's just take 20 years, okay? The best quarterbacks in year 1 and maybe even 2 and 3, but definitely year 1, we have not asked them to do a lot. Tom Brady. This was manage games and go win it when we need you to. Defense and running was great early on for the Patriots. You take a guy like Patrick Mahomes, sat out for a year under Alex Smith, who was an MVP candidate that year. Take Russell Wilson in the first decade before Russell Wilson became more of a punchline as of late. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. He had the Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch and a veteran coach. Great situation to walk into. He got better and better and better as it went. Wasn't asked to do everything in the early going. Take Aaron Rodgers. Sat for 4 years. Didn't have to come in and do anything right away. Jordan Love. We're seeing success. Sat for 3 or 4 years. The best examples of quarterbacking and success early on in their careers with wins and success rate, even if it didn't mean MVPs. Now, Mahomes, year 2, jumped into the MVP thing. Same with Lamar Jackson. But we have been able to nurture them a little bit, put them in a good situation, not ask you to do too much. Think about what they did here in Jacksonville. Hey, they said, Trevor, can you run the organization? Because we got a dumbass running ours right now in Urban Meyer. I mean, like, that's what they basically did. You've got to be the adult in the organization. Hey, welcome, Rook. You got to figure this out in the NFL, too. But you're also going to be the guy in the organization to kind of carry the freight. Like, that is not a good position to be successful.
Well, Burrow and Herbert did it, though.
Herbert did, surprisingly. Again, I'm not going to tell you there's never going to be a guy.
Yeah.
But I just gave you 5 examples of being the better way to do it, in my opinion. But I think Fields was in a very Trevor-like situation in a different way, but not one to be successful. I actually think Mac Jones, his best year, he was put in a pretty good situation. They had a decent football team. They didn't ask him to do a lot, and he was able to thrive in that spot because he didn't have to do it. Then they started asking him to do a lot, and he couldn't do it. So, yeah, Burrow was right off the rip, right? Yeah, it was year 1. Well, no, year 1 he tore his ACL like 6 weeks in, didn't he?
But he's still. I mean,
but he was starting to play well.
Yeah,
he was playing well.
Josh
and
Allen?
Stroud just did it too.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
No, Josh Allen was
sat?
a great. No, he didn't sit.
Okay,
but Josh Allen, and I don't remember exactly the situation. Josh Allen's one of these great examples of development, though, because he started off at he was like a 55% passer at Wyoming. He ended up like a 54 or 53% passer, I think it was, in year 1 at Buffalo, and then all of a sudden he starts ticking up. And by year 3, he's like a 64% passer or 66% passer. Everybody wondered about his accuracy, not his talent. And he was able to develop that skill, which is still really one of the cool stories, I think, of the last decade or so when it comes to quarterbacking.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have the talent around you, it's only going to help. Things like Dak Prescott's a classic example. He started his first game, and he was taken deep, but obviously he had the talent around him to help out. Andrew Luck comes to mind. I mean, I remember playing against him. I think Luck played right away.
That's a good point.
So, yeah, I mean,
it can be done.
It depends what you have around you. Like if you're going to Chicago right now, I mean, do you have a lot around you if you're Caleb Williams? I'm not sure. No.
Well, I think you have more than maybe Justin Fields started with.
No, without a doubt.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you feel better about that. Look, I'm not telling you that every situation has to be perfect. You've got to be able to wiggle through some of that. But if Trevor had walked into the league in 2022 instead of 2021, wouldn't you think his jumping off point would have been just 100 times better?
You would hope so, yes.
Right? With Doug, with guys like Kirk and other people around him, compared to where he was in 21. I think these teams have to be very careful to just say, hey, we got our guy, and now you go do it. Yeah, eventually you're going to do it. And once in a while, there's a guy that can kind of just do it. But that's not the formula. And we're kidding ourselves if that's the formula. It wasn't the formula with the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady. And quite frankly, it wasn't the formula with the quarterback that now people think is the greatest in the league. And Patrick Mahomes, he sat out the first year under an MVP candidate with one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful situation to be in. So you got to put these guys in a good